Yo, what up, guys? Mr. Solution here. So, on today's episode, we'll be looking at how to trade breakout like a pro, right? So, breakout trading is one of the trading techniques. I know some persons whose method of trading is only breakout. So, they don't trade breakout, they don't take any trade if the trade is not a breakout. So, what is breakout trade, right? So, I define breakout trading as a trading technique whereby a trader enters a position after the price must have broken through either a given support or a resistance level. Okay, so it's either the price has gone above a given resistance or it has gone below a given support. Okay, so traders tend to go long when the price breaks above a resistance, and then they go short when the price breaks below the support. Okay, so now, there is how not to trade breakout. Okay, one of the mistakes that people make is that they tend to chase breakouts. Okay, chasing breakout, it's usually very disastrous because one of the downside to it is that when you chase breakout, you do not know where to put your stop loss. Your stop loss position is usually illogical. You tend to have an illogical stop loss. Okay, so don't chase breakouts. Okay, so how then do you trade breakout? How do you trade breakout? I said you trade breakout by looking out for build up. Okay, only take a breakout trade when it's followed, okay, when it's preceded by a build up. Okay, what do I mean by a build up? Let's say we have this. Let's say we have this. Now let me use a diagram to show that. Okay, let's say we have this is a resistance, right? And then this is a support, resistance, and then support. Then you see price, this is resistance, this is support. Okay, then you see that price has been kind of moving with inside this range. Okay, it's been moving inside this range, and then all of a sudden, okay, it comes here, goes up here, and then this is actually called a build up. What it shows is that most of the time, 95% of the time, right, so price usually moves up and then starts going up. So whenever you want to take a long trade or whenever you want to take a breakout, make sure that it is preceded by a build up. Okay, make sure that what caused this is a build up, because majority of the time this breakout usually holds. That doesn't mean there is no possibility that it will come for a retest. It's possibly to come for a retest. It is possible for it to come for a retest, but then when it does, the next thing that is that price usually starts going up again. Okay, so if you want to take a breakout trade, make sure it's preceded by a build up. Okay, so this is actually different from maybe when we get this kind of, let's say we have this kind of setup now. Let me erase this. Okay, let's say we have something like this. Okay, assuming we have something like this, still our resistance level. Okay, the one I showed earlier is quite different from this kind of trade. Okay, price has been on this range in here. Okay, and then all of a sudden, okay, it shoots up like that from here, and it's possible for this to hold, but then I don't really take this kind of trade because it wasn't preceded by a build up. Okay, there is no build up to that. Okay, so I need to see a build up, because is that build up that will tell me that, okay, yes, that buyers are willing to buy at maybe any of the at these higher levels. Okay, so what build up tells us is that buyers are willing to buy at any given level within this very range. Okay, so wait for a build up, because sometimes what traders is that maybe they've seen that they've seen something of this nature now, that maybe the market has been maybe going up for a very long time, and maybe from here, okay, from here now market has been going up. You can see we're seeing a series of high highs, higher highs, higher highs, higher highs, and then maybe because they've seen it's been going up, and then market now breaks out of the resistance, and then they will go long. Okay, I'm not saying this will not hold. Remember that technical analysis is nothing but a case of probability, but we want to stay where we have a higher chance of survival. We want to, thread on the path of least resistance. We want to go where we are to a large extent, that we are very certain of what the market is going to do next. I don't really take this kind of trade. A trade situation whereby you've seen that maybe for some days market has been going up and going up and going up, and then it breaks through a resistance, you jump in to go, and then decide to go long. Majority of the time, 80% of the time, this usually fails. Okay, this usually fails because it doesn't really make sense. And then the downside to this is that you wouldn't, like I said initially, you wouldn't know where to put your stop loss. Where will you put your stop loss? Look at this here now. Where will you put your stop loss? Are you going to put it here? Are you going to put it here? Are you going to, where will you actually put it? So imagine you decide to put your stop loss somewhere around this region. Okay, now check the risk to reward ratio. Imagine what you tend to lose. Maybe it goes up and maybe you want to take profit at this level. Check the risk to reward ratio. You see that this is your reward, and then this is your risk. ROI, this is your risk. So checking the risk to reward ratio, you see that it doesn't really make any logical sense. Okay, so you don't chase this kind. When you do this kind of thing, we call it chasing of breakouts. You don't chase a breakout. Okay, so always look out for a trade that has a build up. A build up, like I said initially, we help to consolidate. We help to tell you that, yeah, truly that this breakout is about to, that this breakout, even though it's about to occur, that there is a chance that it will definitely hold. And then most of the time, even when there is a build-up preceding the breakout, there is usually what we call a retest. Okay, so it's possible that even though it's possible for even the breakout to come for a retest, even though it was preceded by a build-up. This is what I mean here. This is what I mean. Okay, so we have something like this. Trade has been going on, and then it comes to consolidate, say consolidate. So what it means is that buyers are willing to buy at this level. With these levels, buyers are willing to buy. Buyers are willing to, then all of a sudden it shoots up. Okay, that this was preceded by a build up doesn't mean it will start going up. Chances are that it could actually move up and then come back for a retest. It could equally come back for a retest. So majority of the time, I always wait for a retest, even though it's followed by a build up. But then when I see this build up, it kind of gives me this conviction. I'm convinced the more that this breakout is gonna hold, even though yes, it's coming for a retest, but then it's gonna hold. So I could just decide to maybe enter a long gear and then let my TP be the very first place where the highest point where it got before it came for the retest. I could just decide to maybe take a long gear and then let my first TP be here. And then if you discover that if you're taking a long gear, you have a very nice place to put your stop loss. I could put my stop loss maybe at 180R below this support. If I put my stop loss 180R below, that's very logical. If you check my risk, this is my risk, this is the risk, ROI. If you check my risk, check my reward, ROE, you see that I have a higher chance of, that my risk to reward ratio makes a whole lot of sense. That makes big sense. Okay, this is quite different from what would happen if, let's say, price keeps on moving, like, going up, comes up and shoots up, and then I decide to hop and maybe put a long around it because it has broken, and then where will I put my stop loss? Am I gonna put it here? Or where exactly I would come down here and then put it? It doesn't really make sense. So this is really wrong. Okay, you don't chase breakouts. Follow. If you want to trade breakouts, make sure that breakout is preceded by a build up, because it will convince you the more that that breakout is actually gonna hold. And then another thing is that to help you to know to place your trading stop loss, you could use something like maybe a moving average, maybe 10-day, 20-day, depending on the time frame you're using. Could use any of that. Could use trading stop loss, okay, to monitor the trade and then know where to put your stop loss. Okay, so there are the pros and cons. There are equally advantages and disadvantages of breakout trading. And one of the advantages, okay, of breakout trading is that it helps you to catch trends. Okay, no trend escapes you. Remember that even though what we used as an example, as an instance, is for the breakout in the upside, the same thing also happens when the reverse is the case. Let's say it's going downwards. Okay, so breakout trading helps you to catch every trend. No trend escapes you. Okay, because you've seen the build up, and then you know that this thing is going to happen. So you could just position yourself the more to better to maybe enter the trade before the breakout occurs. And then the con side to it, that's the disadvantageous aspect of it, is that it could lead to what we call a false breakout. There could be a false breakout, and like we said, when this false breakout occurs, it usually leads to huge losses because people usually do not know how and where to put their stop loss. Okay, so to round off the summary, I said don't chase breakouts. Okay, make sure you trade breakouts with a builder. If you want to trade breakouts, make sure it is it is preceded by a build up. Trade only breakout that has a build up. And even if the breakout has escaped you, don't chase it. Wait for a retest, because 80% of the time, market usually comes back for a retest. And then finally, use trailing stop loss to ride the trend. Okay, guys, I hope this video has been educative enough for you. If you're looking for a community of traders to join, I welcome you to my Telegram community of traders. Okay, the link is at the description section of this video. And then if you are looking for the best cryptocurrency trading platform for you to carry out your trades, FTS is my #1 exchange. That's the exchange I've been using for a very long time. So I welcome you to FTS Exchange. I'll also be leaving the link for you to sign up at the description section of the video. All right, guys. So I'll come your way again. I remain your man, Mr. Solution. Hands ahead. Salute.